Have you ever felt utterly lost in a moment of confusion, wondering which way to turn or what choice truly aligns with your deepest being? In my extensive study of Carl Jung's work, I've found that his concept of the self offers profound guidance, especially in times like these when modern life bombards us with uncertainty and conflicting voices. Jung described the self not as the ego, but as the totality of the psyche, including both conscious awareness and the hidden unconscious aspects. It's a central organizing principle within us that seeks wholeness and meaning. Today, I want to share how this idea can illuminate your path when confusion threatens to overwhelm you. Jung's clinical observations stemmed from decades of working with patients who wrestled with inner turmoil, just like many of us do now. He saw confusion not as a flaw, but as a crucial signal that we had drifted from our deeper inner compass. Jung understood that suffering and psychological disorientation are often our psyche's way of demanding attention. Through Jung's detailed case studies, I saw repeatedly how his patients' moments of despair corresponded to the self attempting to communicate. This urgency resonates now more than ever because in our fast-paced world, we tend to suppress these subtle inner messages, favoring external noise. Yet without addressing the self signals, the confusion deepens, creating stagnation and disconnection. My research into Jung's theories reveals that the self is not simply an abstract metaphysical concept, but a living dynamic within us that reaches out through symbols, dreams, and inner experiences to reorient us. When we are confused, the ego, which is our conscious sense of identity, is overwhelmed or fixated on one-sided perspectives. Jung emphasized that the self steps in, bringing paradoxes to light and inviting us into what he called individuation, a framework for integrating all parts of ourselves into a coherent whole. One of Jung's most compelling discoveries is how the self often communicates through what appears to be chaos itself. The swirling confusion is a kind of psychic alchemy, whereby conflicting parts of the psyche are held in tension until a new synthesis or insight emerges. Jung's patients frequently reported dreams filled with paradoxical images or mythological motifs that unlocked fresh understanding. Sudden intuitive leaps are the self emerging to guide us beyond intellectual paralysis. This runs counter to the common belief that confusion must be avoided or eliminated. Instead, Jung taught that by sitting with confusion and approaching it with reverence, we enter into dialogue with the deepest layers of our psyche. In practical terms, Jung developed methods such as active imagination, where one consciously dialogues with inner figures and symbols, allowing the self to speak in its own language. I have seen in Jung's work and in contemporary therapy how this builds courage and clarity. In my experience, Jung's approach invites us to pause rather than push forward blindly, to ask, what is this confusion trying to show me? Likewise, journaling about dreams or recurring images can reveal archetypal messages born from the self. Jung believed that trusting this inner guidance, rooted in the self, leads ultimately to healing and transformation because it connects us to our authentic center. The process is rarely smooth or fast, but the rewards are profound, a sense of meaning and wholeness far beyond mere temporary relief. The hope Jung extended was that no matter how fragmented we feel, the self remains a resilient beacon within us, capable of guiding toward integration, even when the path is obscured. So, my invitation, based on Jung's teachings, is first, to embrace your confusion as a doorway, not a dead end. Second, to cultivate practices such as dream analysis or active imagination that facilitate contact with the self. And third, to trust that this internal guide is already working for your highest good. Remember, Jung taught that individuation is the lifelong journey of becoming whole, and the self is the compass that helps navigate through uncertainty. When you apply these principles, your experience of confusion transforms into an opportunity for profound growth and self-discovery. To conclude, Jung would want you to hold on to the insight that the self is not external or removed from you. It is the ultimate authority within that gently calls you toward wholeness, even in the darkest moments. This is not mere theory. It is a living reality demonstrated again and again in Jung's clinical work and in the lives of those who embrace his wisdom. When you connect deeply with the self, you discover a source of guidance anchored not in fleeting trends, but in the enduring psyche. Next, we will explore how to interpret symbols in everyday life for guidance using Jung's authoritative approach. This is an essential skill for anyone seeking ongoing dialogue with the unconscious, so make sure you do not miss it. If you found value in this insight on the self and confusion, please like, comment your experiences or questions, and subscribe so you can join me tomorrow in unlocking the rich language of symbols. Thank you for being part of this journey into Jung's transformative psychology, and stay curious as we continue to explore together.